Hello guys, welcome to our channel. I hope you like our video and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Well, here we are again, and welcome to Jay and Gladys's Adventures channel. Today we're going to do something different. This is going to be a talk video, probably, 45 minutes long. And just to let you know where we're at right now, we are both at our family mountain home, and we're watering the plants because it's that time of the year again. But we are going to, and the mountain home is in Southern California mountains, by the way. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Philippines, why I'm watering. And I've had a lot of people over the last few years ask me a lot of questions about going to the Philippines. Now, first of all, I don't claim to be an expert. I'm not a certified consultant. I cannot give you advice. All I can do is tell you from my experiences and suggestions on what I would do. I've gone to the Philippines a few times. I'm a recreational traveler. I've gone outside the country of the U.S. On different times to other mostly Hispanic countries, Mexico, Central America, over in the Caribbean to different places, north of the U.S. and Canada. But I'm sorry if I repeat myself. This is the first time I've done this, so bear with me. But we're going to talk about the Philippines. Now, if you want to keep tabs on current events and legalities, I will go over all this again at the end. I would highly recommend that you look up Jennifer Terry. She's on YouTube and she's on Facebook, and she is always up to date on what is going on in the Philippines in regards to legalities and all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about more simpler, basic things that people have asked me about. Like, for instance, you've never been to the Philippines. You know nothing about the Philippines. Maybe you're not a person that does any research on where you're going. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Philippines. I've been there a few times. And yes, we are planning on going back as soon as possible, my wife and I. The Philippines is a very humid country. It's an island out in the Pacific. Not as close to the U.S. as, for instance, Hawaii. It's closer to mainland China and Malaysia. Over on the Australian side. It's along the, what do they call it, where all the earthquakes are. I'm sorry, I forget. Getting old, senior moment. But there's a lot of earthquake faults over there. They have a lot of volcanoes. It doesn't mean that it's dangerous. I live in Southern California, which is supposedly the earthquake capital of the world. Well, you know what? I've lived here for almost 62 years now, and I've never had an issue. There's been some major earthquakes where people have died and buildings have been demolished, and I have been blessed. Same thing in the Philippines. They've had earthquakes where people have unfortunately lost their lives. Buildings have been, demolished. It's going to happen wherever you go. So, let's talk about going there first. I would not recommend going with these inexpensive travel websites. I'm not going to list any names, but what I will tell you what I do is I use Skyscanner, and I've gotten a lot of this information from other vloggers. Good vlogger to look up is Scuba Chef, good old Phil. He's been on current events on a lot of these as well. My friend Old Paul, he's good at interviewing people that have had different experiences. So getting back to traveling to the Philippines, I use Philippine Airlines and I use Korean Air. Those are the two that I would recommend. Yes, there are others, and people have problems on everything. My first choice is Korean Air. My second choice is Philippine Air, PAL. PAL usually is a direct flight out of Los Angeles that I fly out of. Korean Air goes through Incheon, South Korea. Beautiful airport. If you want to break up the flight, it's about a 13-hour flight, 12-hour flight. Over to Incheon, you can walk around the airport, which is, again, a beautiful airport for a couple hours, then get on an hour, hour and a half flight over to the Philippines. Depending on what island you're going to, if you're going to the Manila area in Luzon, then I recommend flying into Manila. Any place else, I recommend flying into Cebu. Why? Well, it's a much easier earthquake. It's a much easier airport to navigate than Manila Airport, through my experiences. That's, again, I'm just telling you my experiences in my personal opinion. You make the choice. Go on to Skyscanner would be my recommendation. Check out the prices. Then go directly to the airlines. A lot of times the airlines are the same price or cheaper. You can get some deals going through the airlines. So that's how I do it. I always book directly with the airlines. Also, if you have any type of a problem whatsoever, you're dealing directly with the source. Otherwise, the airlines will tell you if you're having a problem, oh, well, you went through booking.com or Cheap Air or whatever website you went through. You got to deal with them. Sometimes they're not easy to get a hold of, especially when you're stuck in another country on a layover. Again, the average flight time from Los Angeles, whether it's nonstop or an hour and a half layover in Incheon, is anywhere from 15 to 16 hours. That's what I've experienced. So you make the choice on what your affordability is, what you're willing to do. Let's talk about luggage. Well, if you're going to carry on, most international airlines, again, you're going to have to double check with the airlines, but most international airlines will allow you 2 carry-ons. What that means is you're allowed 1 carry-on, for instance, luggage, anywhere from a 20 to a 21 inch. Ours is a 21 and a half. We've had no problems. Suitcase that you put in the overhead. Then you're allowed like a backpack or a laptop or something that can fit under the seat in front of you. Those are your 2 carry-ons. 1 small luggage and 1 bag of some sort. Purses are not included for women, from what I've noticed. We will find out when Gladys and I go back together. And that's the carry-on luggage. Check-in luggage. You're usually allowed 2 suitcases. Suitcases usually go up to 27, 28 inches. Again, you're going to have to check with your airlines what their specifications are. And up to 50 pounds. If you go over any of these sizes, or you go over the carry-on weight for that suitcase, by the way, is 35. If you go over 35, you don't just pay extra for the carry-on, it's got to go into the check-in. That's the way it used to be. Again, you'll have to check with your airlines. If you're overweight or oversized or both on the check-in, you can, well, let's just say you better have a credit card because it can get very costly. So be aware of that. So that's two, and I'd recommend 2 large suitcases. Don't waste your time if you're taking stuff over there. Don't waste your time on 2 small cases on a check-in. You might as well get 2 big ones and fill one with a bunch of candy. By the way, Filipinos love candy. They love chocolate. Not just someone that you may be dating over there, but kids on the street. You know, you see them. To me, it feels good when you're walking down the street and you see a bunch of kids and you toss some candy over them. Oh my gosh, the smiles on their face. It's like it was Christmas time. That makes me feel good, but that's up to the individual. So we've covered luggage. Let's cover clothes, okay? Most of us here in the States, most of us, are used to wearing cotton clothes. That's the majority of what is sold over here. Cotton blend. Yes, there are polyester and nylon and spandex and all those other things, but the majority of the clothes are cotton, all right? If you're a person of my size, I wear XXL shirts and 38 pants. 240 pounds, I'm 5'11". Okay, I'm not a small guy, but I'm also not huge. I sweat a lot. You wear cotton clothes over in the Philippines, and I guarantee you, you will be a walking wet sponge. And you will just be dripping wet. Very high chance you're going to get dehydrated and possibly end up at a medical clinic because you're not going to realize that you're dehydrated till it's too late. Again, the weather over in the Philippines is extremely humid and warm. Not hot, but warm. But the humidity makes it warm, sort of like when you're boiling water on the stove. If you've ever been to Hawaii or if you've been to Georgia, very similar weather. So you have something to kind of go by. Otherwise, like where I live in the high desert in Southern California. It's very dry and very hot. We may be moving to Arizona, and again, it's dry and hot. Different weather than in the Philippines. So, in regards to clothes, I would definitely recommend if you're going to go either visit or even live in the Philippines, 1, get sweat wicking or dry fit clothing. Those are usually 100% polyester clothing. And polyester has changed over the years. Years ago, I couldn't wear polyester because I had allergies and sensitive skin and I'd start itching. Well, now it's almost like it's a soft comb polyester. They've increased the quality, so it's very comfortable. Hello. Yeah, I'm just doing a video here. That's the neighbor up here. But I like Under Armour. That's my choice. But everybody, can experiment. You can go on Amazon. You can go wherever you want. I like the quality of Under Armour, personally. But there's a lot of them out there. Just, again, look for sweat wicking or dry fit clothing. Shirts, pants, shorts, underwear, socks, you name it. Dry fit. If you don't, you're liable to feel miserable. I met a guy when I was in Tacloban, Leyte, stay in a hotel over there, Summit something or other hotel. And this guy was from, I think Washington or Montana. I can't recall, but he was an older guy, probably in his later 60s at the time. And he came down to meet a gal, and all he could complain about was the heat. Well, he was wearing a cotton dress shirt, dress slacks, dress shoes, probably dress socks, and everything else you wear underneath that, And the guy was just a mess. He couldn't deal with the heat, and the clothing wasn't helping him. And he says, how do you look so comfortable and you're not even dripping a sweat? And I said, well, normally I'm a sweaty pig, but you know what? I'm wearing the clothing for the environment over here. You need to go get dry fit or sweat wicking clothes. And so he said he would do that on his next visit. Well, he was unprepared. Don't let yourself get in that position is what I would suggest from experience. Let's see, what else? Food-wise. Food in America is all processed. I don't care what you get, it's processed. And yeah, there's a lot of debate out there, and you can debate this all you want. Anywhere from meat, chicken, pork. There's always something going in our food to make it last longer. Gets rid of the flavor. You go over to the Philippines, you get a mango over there, and it tastes totally different than a mango here. And many other vegetables and fruits and foods. It's very tasty over there, but don't plan on going over there if you like meat and potatoes. Like if you're from Texas and you're used to having beef and potato, a big old steak and potatoes and vegetables, you go over there and yeah, there are places in different locations that have food that's similar, but for the most part, you better learn to switch to Asian foods, some sort of spaghetti combination to something that has a lot of vegetables in it and maybe some pork, maybe some chicken in it. They eat a lot of soups over there. So it's a different menu. If you're a little bit open on your food category, you probably won't have any problems whatsoever over there. If you're very tight on what you like to eat, well, you better find out with some research whether or not you're going to eat over there. Because you don't want to get over there and find that you're going to be hungry for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or however long you're over there. They also work at a much slower pace. Here in Southern California, everybody goes 120 miles an hour, which personally I don't like. Everything is fast, fast, fast. Nobody has any patience. They expect everything immediately. You go over there, you better have some patience. You sit down, it's not unusual, not every place is this way, but you go to anywhere from a small restaurant to a nice restaurant. City, provinces, makes no difference. But you could very, very easily wait half an hour just to get your menu. And they'll come over, they'll hand you your menu, and unlike here, they won't say, can I get you something to drink? They hand you your menu and they say, okay, they'll be back, and they don't come back for a little while. And it's not because they're busy. It's just the way things work over there. They can, there you are. You could be the only one in there, and they'll be up at the counter talking with one another, because that's just the way they do business over there. They don't rush. They figure people, they want to have time to, look at the menu, because over there people are not in a hurry. You don't go to the Philippines to be in a hurry. You go there to have a simple life, whether it's a vacation or to live, and you learn to have patience and take your time so it lowers your stress. Most of the people that I know that have moved over there that were on high blood pressure pills, some of them were even on, what is it for diabetes? Starts with an M. They go over there, and after a few months, guess what? They find that they don't have to take all that medication anymore. And it's not because they're cured, it's because they've learned to regulate their stress. They've learned to regulate their heartbeat by not having the stress. They've slowed it down, which helps their blood pressure. They've chosen a different diet, which helps with the sugar levels, and the lack of stress helps with the sugar levels. So the lifestyle changes, and A lot of people do better over there because of that. Doesn't mean it's going to be for everybody, excuse me, but that's just the way I've noticed with different people. People ask me all the time, well, where should I go? Well, you've probably heard it before, and if you haven't, you're going to hear it now. There's over 7,000 islands, okay? I think about half those are habited with people, anywhere from maybe a dozen to thousands. Population-wise, I think the last census they did in all of the Philippines is they were just at, oh shoot, what was it? Don't quote me on this, please. But I think it was 110,000. It wasn't that many. I could be very, very wrong, but it was 110 something. In other words, just LA alone has more people in it than all of the Philippines put together. That's my point. So there's not a lot of people over there. But when you're leaving here, let's say the States or whatever country you're in, depending on what your wants, needs, and desires are on your vacation or where you want to live, depends on where you go. Also your health. A lot of guys that have health issues that moved over there for different reasons, they want to be near really good hospitals. The really good hospital is, I do believe it's referred to as St. Luke's, and it's in the Manila area. It's a VA hospital, but it's one of the best over there. So if you want to be near a hospital, you're going to need to live, most likely, if you want to be near a really good hospital, depending on your health situation, you're probably going to want to live near or in a major city. I don't plan on doing that, myself or my wife. I've grown up in the LA area. That's the last thing I want to do, is live in another major city. So we don't want that, but maybe some of you want to move to the city. Maybe you didn't grow up in the city. Maybe you prefer the city for whatever reason. There's a few major cities over there that I'd recommend. Large cities, you're looking at the Manila area, which is like, say, in the Los Angeles area. It goes on for quite a ways, and you have smaller cities with different names that are all attached to it. Or you go into the Cebu area. You're going to have high rises there. You're going to have all the modern conveniences, including hospitals. There's more medium-sized to smaller cities that are throughout the Philippines that are beautiful cities, and some of them have, from what I've been told, good hospitals. You know, you have Iloilo, you have Tacloban, you have Ormoc. My wife's from Carigara, so she's kind of pro-Carigara. You have Dumaguete, which is a very, very popular place for expats to go to as a dropping spot. And you have Davao, and then you have a lot of other locations that are not as popular on the let's go there list, you know, to live. And I'll tell you, those are among the beautifulest, the best places that I've found to go to. You know, Palawan is one. Boracay is very, very more of a tourist place. But just, you know, you got Bohol, the list is long. And what I'd recommend is, if you're looking for a place to live over there, go over there, and this is what we're going to do someday, my wife and I, is we're going to find a place that we're going to call base camp. You could rent places over there anywhere from a week to a month or from a day to a week to a month to 6 months to a 12-month lease. Go over there for a month. Pick a city. Throw a dart on a map. Pick a city. Go over there for a month. Stay at a hotel first. Find a place to rent for the rest of the month and explore it. Write down the pros and cons. Then throw a dart at another place on the map and go there next. Until you find a place that you're so comfortable with, you say, you know what? I'm going to find a place to live here. Either rent, get property, build or buy a home. Of course, don't want to get down this topic because I know people are going to say this. Oh, if you're a foreigner, you can't buy a home. Well, you can and you can't. Legally, no, you can't. But is there's ways to buy a home? Sure, there's ways. You know, I'm married to a Filipina. I can buy a home. It's just the property has to be in her name. It's that simple. The home could be in both of our names. Property has to be in her name only. You know, so what do you do if you're a person that isn't very trustful of other people? You do something like that, well then you signed a 25-year or 50-year lease, whatever you decide, with that Filipina that you're with, that you're going to lease the land for that amount of time. So if there's any problems whatsoever, she can't necessarily kick you out of the house like some people have had some horror stories. They go over there, they put the money down on a piece of property, their Filipina has the name on it, they build a house, they get into a fight, and the Filipina says, get out of my house. And legally, you have to get out of the house because everything belongs to her. Well, if you write it up differently, well, they're going to have some difficulties kicking you out of your own house because the house you own, property she owns. So try not to go down that route, you know. Find someone that you can trust, that you don't even have to have a prenup like some people do, especially here in the U.S. Be patient, go slow. Do I recommend dating sites? No. Before I met my wife, I went on dating sites to try and meet people for a couple years, and all I found is they're just loaded with scams. Are there people that have gone on dating sites and had success? Of course there is. I personally don't recommend them. I met my wife through a mutual friend on Facebook. What I'd recommend doesn't pertain to me because I already have my wife with me. But if you're single and you want to meet someone in the Philippines, I'd go over there. Because the minute you walk off the plane, you're going to have people eyeballing you left and right. And you will have no problems meeting women over there. Be choosy. Don't jump at the first one that's, you know, young and beautiful and has a big smile and comes up to you, because of the fact that, that was my wife, by the way, Gladys, that just walked in front of the camera. She said hi to everybody. You know, don't rush, because I hate to refer to it this way, but it's true. Here in America, we're used to being very picky because that's the way people are with us. It's very difficult to hold a relationship over here anymore, from my experience and from everybody else I've met. You know, it seems like that's just the norm now. Relationships fall apart. People go their different ways for whatever reasons. Maybe it's because of the fast-paced lifestyle and, you know, the debt ring up, and the list could go on. But you know what? When you go over there, just picture it as you're going into a market and you're trying to figure out what brand milk you want. And I hate to refer to it this way, but this is the easiest way I can refer it to some of you people that don't understand what I mean by be patient and go slow. You go into a market and they have 12 different brands of milk. All you know is that your favorite is, let's say, low-fat milk. So you are trying to decide what low-fat milk you want. Do you want Newton's? Do you want the a market brand? Do you want Altadena, or the list goes on? Okay? Try them all, one at a time, of course, not all at the same time, because Filipinas don't like that. When a Filipina dates a guy, it's almost like you're already girlfriend and boyfriend, just to let you know. So you have to accept their culture. That's another thing. You got to learn to accept the ways over there. Adapt, accept, and don't fight the system over there. Remember, you're going into somebody else's country, and they have a different culture, they have a different way of life. So respect it and accept it. Basically, accept the way they are, and that is when they go out on you with a date, okay, you're getting to know each other, and hopefully you don't jump in bed the first time. Otherwise, you're basically, your fate is sealed. You go out on a second date, you're now girlfriend and boyfriend in that Filipina's eyes, okay? And you need to understand that. That's their way of thinking. It may not be your way of thinking. Had a friend one time that really liked this girl, and they'd been going together off and on for, a few years. Whenever he went over there, they would be together. When they were here, obviously they couldn't be together, but he was afraid of losing her, so he gave her a promise ring. Something that we used to do here when we were much younger. And he gave her a promise ring and says, here, I promise you when I come over to the Philippines that I will be exclusive to you, and that someday we will get engaged. They don't understand any of that. They don't have promise rings over there. Basically, your promise is when you date a Filipina a second time, or you get intimate with the Filipina, you've just, what's the appropriate word? you have just agreed that you are exclusive, and that you are not going to date other Filipinas, and they are not going to date other men. Now, if you're with a woman that doesn't act that way, then I would go the other direction, because there are women over there that are starting to become westernized. I did not want a westernized woman, or I would have just found one here in the States. I wanted a Filipina that is equal to us going back 50 years in our society and culture here in the U.S., and how they treat a man, how they respect a man, how they're loyal to a man. That's pretty much in a nutshell what to expect over there. So you now have the ammunition to deal with it however you want. A lot of people don't understand that. And they constantly are having failed relationships. And they think it's because Filipinos can't be trusted. No, it's not that. It's because you're not understanding the Filipina. That's my opinion. Everybody's going to have their own. Now, back to the travel, because I sometimes get on a tangent, so I apologize. Once you figure out what island you're going to want to go to and what airport you're going to fly into, okay, you're going to enter the Philippines, most likely, on a 30-day tourist visa, okay? You will not be accepted in the Philippines unless you have a return flight, or you have proof that you are going to be leaving the Philippines within 30 days. And by the way, your return flight has to be within 30 days. That's the rule. Okay, like it or not, that's the rule. Now, let's say you want to go over there for 2 or 3 months. There's ways you can get around that. Once you book, first thing is you book a one-way flight. Then you go on to what is called onwardticket.com. Pick a country to go to. I had a friend that just did one to Malaysia from the Philippines for $14. Book it for like 2 or 3 weeks after you get to the Philippines. You need to book it within 48 hours of you leaving. So right before you get ready to go to the airport, book your onward flight. And it doesn't matter what country you pick. Pick the cheapest one, the cheapest ticket, for heaven's sakes. Because you're not going to get a booking flight ticket for this trip to, let's say you pick Malaysia for $14 or $20. They're not going to send you a ticket. You're not going there. But on your phone, it's going to have a confirmation number that you've confirmed a ticket for Malaysia for $20, let's say. Okay? When you arrive at the security immigration in the airport, either in Cebu or I think Clark's opening up too. That's in northern Luzon. But any one of the international airports, you're going to have to go through the security immigration checkpoint, and they're going to ask you, what's your business here? You're a tourist. Okay. How long do you plan on staying? Oh, only a couple weeks, and I'm going to Malaysia. Do you have proof of that? Yeah, you show them your phone. Okay. They stamp your passport with a 30-day visa, and you're done. The next thing is, and you can ask any expat over there how to do this, depending on where you're at, where to go. It's not something you just look up or someone says, oh, you go here, because it's going to change from city to city. But basically, you go to the local immigration office after about 2-3 weeks max, wherever you're at, and you get a 29-day extension. And then after that, it goes up to like 59 days. And, you pay a small amount of money. I don't remember what it is, $20, $30, $40, $50, whatever it is. Of course, everything over there is in pesos, which is basically half a dollar. It's like 55 pesos to the dollar right now. So your dollar goes very far over there. But anyhow, you extend your visa. No problems, nothing. And then you can stay there longer. And then when you're ready to go home, you book a ticket to go home. Simple as that. Now, if you're married to a Filipina, it's a little bit different. You go over there, you automatically get a 12-month Balakabayan visa. So you can stay there 12 months before you're required to leave. Let's see, what else? Again, figure out what you want. Do you want to be in a city, or do you want to be in a small to medium town? There's city girls and there's province girls. City girls are more usually, not always, but usually they're more of the partying type because they've lived in the city. They want to party it up. They want to go out to nice dinner, And keep in mind, a nice dinner over there may cost you $20 for both of you guys, and that's with drinks. If you want an easygoing, simple woman, Gladys. Oh, I'll let you look at my wife. Here, come here. If you want a simple, what they call province girls, Gladys has gone to college, so it's not like she's dumb, or she only went to the 3rd grade or whatever, and they don't know how to speak. Come on up here. I'm doing a video.
Oh, sorry.
Say hi to the camera. I got the microphone here. Say hi.
Hi, guys.
This is my wife, Gladys. She's gorgeous. She's intelligent.
Uh-oh.
She speaks English very well.
Oh, really?
And, it's very simple to find women like that. Okay, you can go back to what you're doing. I didn't want to disturb you too much. I just wanted to show everybody, who you are. You want a simple, good-looking, intelligent woman? Well, some people say province girls aren't that. Well, guess what? They are. City girls, province girls, any Filipina, experiment. Don't rush it. Take your time. Again, I wouldn't worry about meeting a girl online or anything like that until you get over there. Once you're over there, you know what? Go to the market, go to the mall. A lot of people meet women in the malls over there. You know, you're not going to have any problem meeting anyone. Trust me. That's just the way it is over there. And, sorry, rolling up the hose here. It's a little bit of a chore. Keeps getting caught. Take your time. Figure out where you're going to live first, or where you're going to stay first, would be my suggestion. Then meet a girl. Maybe the first trip you do over there, you explore different areas on what you like. And don't worry about meeting a girl for a permanent relationship. Whatever town you're in, I'm sure you can find someone to go out on a date with, you know, at least once. And then the second trip you make over there, you have a little bit narrowed area that you want to concentrate on spending your time in. Let's say, for example, you pick Davao. Okay, well, the second trip, you go over there for a month, 2, 3 months, and you spend it in Davao. And that's where you will look for more of a permanent relationship. Let's talk about a little bit about relationships. And you will find this different all the way across the board on whoever you talk to. Big question a lot of people have is, well, if I get involved in a relationship with a gal, am I going to have to support her family? Well, you don't have to do anything. To be honest with you, you're on vacation. Or you're choosing to go over there and live based upon your budgeted income, whatever that may be. Some people live on, now granted things have gotten more expensive since the pandemic, but some people live on $1,500 a month. Some people have a hard time living on $3,000 a month. It all depends on where you're going to live. You know, where you choose. The cost of rent, the cost of transportation, the cost of food. By the way, transportation over there isn't like here in the States. No matter where you go, they have what we would call a taxi. But it's not the same as taxis here in the States. They're basically people that have bicycles, tricycles, with a seat on the back or on the side. And they will, for a small fee, they'll ride you wherever you want to go. They have trikes, which are, don't quote me on the name of this because some people have different names that they call them. It'll be like a 125 Honda or Yamaha, and it will have a side, what you'd call a sidecar, but it's made out of tubing with a seat on the side or next to it, and they will drive you around or ride you around anywhere up to an individual's small compact car. At the airports, you'll see a lot of them. Hey, where do you want to go? I'll take you wherever you want to go, you know. All the way up to buses, travel buses, like we have Greyhound buses. If you want to go from one city to another city, you go in this travel bus, you know. And keep in mind, it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to do all this stuff. It's very, very affordable. Let's see, what else? Talked about tickets, we talked about clothing, talked about cities, choose your destination. You're going to meet someone, I would make sure that you have your destination down first before you meet people. Because if you go online, let's say you meet someone and they live in the Luzon area, in Manila area, and you guys are hitting it off, and you move all the way down to, let's say, Davao. Well, that's quite a few islands away, and they may not want to leave their family. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Sorry, I got on a little sidekick here. Family. You meet a woman, and let's say, like for instance, my wife, she was living in the province and she was taking care of her mom and dad because her mom is disabled. Well, she found ways of having an income. She had a sari store, and she had a small income coming in from that. And when I took her away from the Philippines, you're taking her away from making an income for her parents. Now I'm not going to be negative, but some people will say, well, that's not my problem. I just wanted her for me. Well, if that's the way you are, I'd highly recommend that you just pass on the Philippines, because they're not that type of people. They're very family oriented. Parents have kids. Kids grow up. Sometimes, not all, sometimes parents kind of have kids to take care of them when they get old. Nothing is required. Nothing's in concrete, whatsoever. But from a moral standpoint, kids over there, as a rule of thumb, have always wanted to take care of their parents when they get older. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to spend every minute with them and change their diaper and everything else, but they will go work abroad outside the Philippines. They will make money and they will send it home, have a caregiver if needed, send money home so the mom and dad can buy food and, clothing and all that kind of stuff. Why? Well, because they care about their parents. A lot of older crowds over there weren't so fortunate to have incomes like we have here in the States. So they're poorer. The younger generations are finding ways of working abroad, either caregivers, nurses, really good professional jobs are nurses now. It's very common to go to a hospital here in the States and find Filipino nurses. It's very common. They've all gone to school in the Philippines, come over here to make good money, to send back home. Get it? Send back home, take care of their parents. So my situation is I care about my wife's parents and family, and we do our best to take care of them. Do they live in a mansion, with air-conditioned rooms and everything else? No, they don't. They haven't lived that way their whole life, so why should I all of a sudden go build a house and put in all these air conditioners and, running water and, you name it. They haven't lived that way. And if you start imposing Western ways onto them, you're going to change the whole society. And everything's going to be an expect. They're going to expect this, they're going to expect that. And when you start slowing down or start saying no, they're going to get offended. So it can be a Pandora's box. So be careful if you open that box. Be prepared to maintain whatever you do for them. If you decide you want to help them with a monthly allowance for food because maybe your girl worked at a mall and you meet her at a mall and you fall in love with her and you decide to either bring her back to the States or you decide to have her move in with you and you live on another island. Well, you now just took away her income that she sends home for her mom and dad. So how is that going to be supplemented? Well, If you have any type of a heart, you'll probably say, you know what, let me know what portion you used to send to your mom and dad, and I'll take care of that, because I took you away to be with me. That to me is the common thing to do, and most people do that. So just keep that in mind when you're dating someone, and you start getting serious. I hear it all the time from different Filipinas. I hear it a lot from expats over there. They go out on 3 dates or 2 dates, and all of a sudden they want the girl to move in with them. Oh, don't worry about your job, I'll take care of you. Well, yeah, feeding her, giving her a nice roof over her head, giving her clothes, showing her, nice vacations is all nice and dandy, but she wasn't working to build that type of a lifestyle. She was working to, I get these bug bites already. She was working to help her family out. You're taking her away from that. And you know what? Most Filipinas won't say anything to you about that because they're embarrassed. They think you should already know that. Americans, foreigners are smart. We're rich, we're smart, we know everything. That's why the U.S. is #1 in the world. We're supposed to know everything. So keep that in mind, Be very understanding. Be a good listener. Listen to what they say. Understand their culture. Understand where they came from. Understand their family values. Right, hon? Right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'd recommend. And don't rush into anything. Get to know the person. Make sure you're compatible. Make sure you can afford the relationship. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Filipinos are very honest with you once they trust you. And they have trust issues just like we have trust issues. So get past that, and then you guys can have a great time together. See what else? We went over the clothing, money-wise. You want to know how to deal with money while you're over there. Well, when you get off the plane at the airport, I would get maybe $100 at the most. Nowadays, probably $100. 3 years ago, I would say, maybe $50. But now I would say get $100 for at least taxi to get you to your hotel, wherever you're going to be. Get a SIM card for your phone. Go to a Globe counter or Smart counter at the airport. Get a 30-day SIM card, unlimited calls and data. Pull your SIM card out, put that in. And by the way, make sure your cell phone that you take over there will work on the GSM network. That's the network that the Philippines uses. It's called a GSM network. You need to make sure of that. Most networks now here are very versatile, including Verizon, where the phones are made to work on both networks. We had no problems when I took my Verizon phones over there. Get a 30-day Globe or Smart. It depends where you're going. It's a toss-up, which one will work best. Put that in your phone. So now you have data on your phone, so you can go onto Facebook, go onto Messenger, whatever you need to do, Amazon. So you got $100 at the airport in pesos, which will be roughly about 5,500 pesos right now, I think. And you got a SIM card for your phone. Then continue your journey, to whatever other island you're going to. If you're going to another island, check into your hotel. Then find out where the nearest money conversion places are. And convert your money if you want. I don't recommend it. I'd take $200 in cash over there. And I would take $100, cash it in at the airport and get pesos. The other $100, I'd keep it in your wallet as an emergency. And what I would do is either have an ATM card that your bank or institution reimburses your ATM fees. For instance, Charles Schwab, they reimburse your ATM fees at the end of the month. Different credit unions will do that. ATMs, it's kind of risky. If you're going to go to an ATM, go to an ATM in a public place, mall or someplace like that, or a bank. Don't go to one that's outside of a liquor store or a 7-Eleven. You're just asking for trouble. You got a target on your back. So remember that. Personally, I prefer to use Remitly. You can load the app on your phone. Excuse me, my nose is running. And this is going to be rather loud, so beg the difference with me. Sorry. Depending on how long you're going to be over there, send yourself money through Remitly. You attach your bank account or bank card, depending on how you want to use it, to your Remitly account, and you can send yourself money within a few minutes. And different cash houses, we'll call them, Cebuana, you name it, they're all over the place. Like we have gas stations on every corner. They have these cash places on every corner where you'll basically get an R number from Remitly, and it'll be like a 9 or 10 digit number. And you'll go into one of these cash places, and when you cash through, when you use Remitly and you want to have a cash pickup, it'll give you a list of all the different places you can go to. Screenshot that. Most of the time, the cash places, they all accept all those. So it's not like there's only one, like Shell gas station or Chevron gas station. It's like going into a gas station and they're Shell, Chevron, Texaco, 76, they're all combined. That's the way these cash places are. So you go in there, you basically tell them you're here to pick up money. You'll show them the R number, the Remitly confirmation number on your phone. They'll ask for ID, show them your passport, and they'll give you your money in pesos. That is the most convenient way and the safest way that I've seen in getting your money. And just whenever you want money, send yourself money. You know, you link your bank account to Remitly, you can send it immediately. And versus having to look for an ATM or risking that, that's what I'd recommend personally. And then use the ATM as a backup. Always have a backup plan when you're in the Philippines. Always. Sorry, my allergies are bothering me. Always have a backup plan. Don't rely on one source of anything. One source of transportation, one source of getting money. Don't do that. Try not to carry around a lot of cash with you. And when you are going into a restaurant or a store, I'd recommend don't have your big wad of cash together. So, you know, you want to give them 500 pesos and you pull your wad of cash out and you've got like 30,000 pesos all wadded together. Denomination, the highest denomination is only 1,000 pesos over there, and it's a bill. So you might have 30 of these, you know, put together, and some of them might be 500s, 100s, 200s, 20s, 50s, etc. Don't do that. Keep a few thousand pesos in one pocket and keep the wad in the other pocket as a backup. Because remember, you're in a foreign country and everybody's going to know you're a foreigner and you're walking around with a target. It doesn't mean that there's a high crime rate, but be aware of your surroundings because you don't want to be a victim. I'd rather read about different situations where people had problems than be a victim myself. So just take precautions. Be prepared, and you shouldn't have any problems or any worries whatsoever. Take sunblock with you. Take sunburn gel. It's after gel. That way, if you get sunburn, You can put this green or blue gel on you, and it helps the sunburn go away. Get dry fit clothing. Take a couple pairs of shoes that are very comfortable, tennis shoes. And if you're going over there to live and you're extra large sizes, and when I say extra large sizes, I mean like an extra large, US extra large or bigger. I'm a double XL, like I said earlier. Pants, I'm a 38. Shoes, I'm a size 11. You won't find that over there unless you go into one of the major cities. So you're going to have a hard time finding clothes. You know, most of the places you go into, they're going to have clothes that would probably fit your 12-year-old child because of the fact that Filipinos are smaller. So keep that in mind when you go over there, especially if you're going to go over to live. You know, buy a bunch of extra clothes and shoes. Put them in I'd recommend LBC boxes. That's a shipping company that ships out of the U.S. to the Philippines. It's called LBC Express. I'd recommend using them. You know, throw a bunch of stuff in an LBC box and ship it over there to where you're living. And it'll take about 2 months. There's other companies here in the U.S. I found that LBC is the best for where we're located. And after, 2-3 months, you'll receive your shipment. And guess what? You'll have your extra store items, put them in the closet so when you need them, you don't have to worry about shopping for them. And then if you find clothing while you're over there and you like it, buy it. At least you won't be relying on having to find stuff. Jewelry. Don't wear a lot of fancy jewelry over there. People don't usually wear, gold watches and chains and, chains around their neck and around their wrist and, ankle bracelets or, they don't wear that kind of stuff over there. And again, if you want to, just keep in mind you're kind of painting a target on yourself that, hey, I'm rich. And if you want to come steal my stuff, it's here for the taking. And you don't want to put yourself in that situation. That's all I would recommend. Again, these are all just experience and recommendations. None of it is the gospel. I'm not a expert at all this stuff. I'm just trying to help a lot of people out. Onwardticket.com for your onward ticket. If you're going to live over there and you want health insurance, I would look up Michael Onstadt on Facebook. Michael Onstadt on Facebook. Get travel insurance. I'd recommend travel insurance. Again, scuba chef Phil and his girlfriend Rufina, or wife, have really good links to different travel insurances to use. Usually with me, when I get an airline ticket, it'll ask me, do you want to include travel insurance? I just say yes. Let's see, what else? We talked about the clothing. We talked about tickets. We talked about cities to stay in, places to stay. There's so much to do over there. If you're going to be over there for any length of time, I'd rent a scooter, versus a car. That's just my personal opinion. If you're afraid of motorbikes, then, rent a car. If you're over there for any longer than 30 days, you're going to have some difficulties if you're ever at a checkpoint and you don't have a Philippine license. So be aware of that. Always take receipts with you. If you're renting a vehicle or a scooter or motorbike, be sure and take the rental documents with you. Keep it in the, in the seat with you. So if they ask proof who does this belong to, you have the receipt. Otherwise, they can take whatever they want. Is there corruption over there? Yeah, there's corruption. It's sort of like being down in Mexico. You stop at a checkpoint, they might not like the helmet you're using or whatever, and, give them 100 pesos and you're on your way, or whatever it is. It varies where you're at. Not a big deal. to me, versus them hassling you and arresting you and then releasing you 24 hours later. And don't go through that hassle. Be respectful when you're over there. Don't stand out. Don't start fights. If you don't like something, walk away. If you're unhappy with the food, don't complain. Just walk away. Don't go back. Because you make a scene and you now become a target. So those are all my recommendations. And that goes for traveling anywhere outside the U.S. If you have any questions, you can look me up on Facebook. It's Jay Williams. And you can message me. And I'll be glad to, talk to you through private messaging. I'm not like some people where I charge you to talk to me. So that's not the case. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to have fun and help out. So hopefully this has been beneficial. It's been quite long, and I apologize. But good luck to all of you, and be safe in your travels. And God bless. Like and subscribe.